For your company that it didn't go so well when it came to like an acquisition perspective, like what happened? I want to hear the story and then maybe what you learned for the next one that went better.
So let me talk to you a little bit about that. Just stepping back, in 2005, we started this company that had this called Jackster, which had the promise of kind of bringing social communications to your mobile phone. Now, this may sound strange to your listeners today, but back then, mobile phones were not smart. The iPhone did not exist. So what we were trying to do was actually connect through text messaging and phone calls, connect that identity with your virtual identity on social media networks like MySpace and Friendster. Again, names that many may not have heard before.
Oh, I was on MySpace. Yeah, those days.
Yes, great. So we had a widget that you could put on your MySpace page and people could type in their phone number. It would give you a call. It would call the person that was on MySpace and you could talk to each other or could send text messages to each other. So it was an interesting concept. It actually took off very rapidly. And we weren't unique. There were like 3 other companies that were trying to do a similar thing. It was called voice over IP, which is kind of like taking voice from the cellular network and putting it on the IP networks. Skype was doing it with desktop phones and laptops. We're trying to do it now with mobile phones, dumb feature phones rather than smartphones. There was a bit of a disruption, of course, when iPhone came, but we created an app and we started we adapted to that. We were growing really fast. Again, I mentioned we raised $20 million. We went from 0 to 10 million users in the first year of launch, won a number of awards. So we were quite happy with where we were. And I would say hubris set in. We were kind of arrogant. We were like, okay, we don't need any strategic partners. We don't need any think about acquisitions. We even said that in the press release that we're not even considering that. We're going all the way to IPO. We're going to be $1 billion company and we're just going for the gold. So what happened was, of course, 2008 and 2009 hit. The Great Recession. Venture money was very hard to have. It's very similar to what we're experiencing right now. A lot of VCs kind of pulled back, started nursing their existing portfolios, not making new investments. And because we were so focused on growth, we had deprioritized converting our free users to paid users. It was a freemium model. And those funnels needed to be immediately fixed. To do that, as you know, and many of your listeners know, you need a lot of experiment. You need time to tune your monetization funnels. We just didn't have that time. We had only 6 months before our cash would run out. We pivoted to finding acquirers. Again, we had not cultivated any relationships. All those other companies that had kind of started around the same time with us, they had actually growth by strategic partnership strategy, and they all got acquired. Grand Central got acquired by Google, which became Google Voice. Ribbit got acquired by British Telecom. Jaja got acquired by Telefonica. And these were acquisitions from 50 million to 200 million in range.
And they are similar to your company.
Very similar. In fact, I would say, again, I may be biased, we had the better technology, we had more awards, we had raised more VC money, the better team.
Yeah.
But we couldn't.
You. Come on.
Yes. Maybe that was a downfall. So we couldn't find any real strategic acquirer. We found one who was a small company that was basically building a similar network in India. And we basically did a fire sale, and it wasn't financially or in any way returning any money to our investors. So it was pretty much a done deal. So that was tough. Worked on it for 4 years, and a lot of people had high hopes, and I was devastated, really. So it took me 6 months to recover and to examine what had happened. It just was a whirlwind.
Did you examine the other companies, like sit down and do a whole case study on all the other companies that had good acquisitions?
Basically, it came down to our decision, right? One key decision we made was that we would not look for or spend any time on distribution partnership or strategic partnerships. We would just focus on our viral growth and figuring out how to do it alone. That was just one of those prioritization decisions we made, which in hindsight was the wrong one. So with my next startup, the first thing I did, and I joined a startup that had actually been growing nicely, but had kind of reached a plateau. So I joined as a head of strategy and corporate development to kind of try to figure out whether we could have a breakout scenario. So with that startup, the first thing I did, we did a strategy offsite. And I took the whole leadership team and we did this exercise where we kind of created our wish list of who would be our potential acquirers. Even though we're not planning to sell, who would they be? Why would they be interested in acquiring us? And what we came back with was a number of names like Intuit, Vistaprint, folks who were actually had a very keen interest in small businesses. And what we had, this next company was called Webs, was a generic website creation platform. So anybody could come and create a website on our platform, including small businesses. And we had 30 million of them. And again, freemium model. It was a company no one in Silicon Valley had heard of because it was based in Silver Spring, Maryland. I was actually the only person in Silicon Valley. My mission was to kind of connect this company to Silicon Valley and figure out what's our strategic future. We did that exercise of kind of what does success mean and who are the potential acquirers. We realized that there's something in the small business segment that we may not be paying close attention to. So we went back and did a deep dive of our data and realized that the small business cohort among all of our users were the ones that would retain the most, they monetize the best, they complain the least. So we realized that we had a gem here, but we just needed to double down and attract more small businesses and complete our solution to be actually to meet their needs a lot better than it did today. So we pivoted the company to be a small business platform rather than just a generic website creation tool. And that entailed acquiring other companies ourselves so that we had a CRM solution through acquisition that came to us. We had also a social, like on Facebook, kind of how to create Facebook pages for your business. We added social, we added mobile through a strategic partnership with Duda Mobile. And so once we did that, then we also started talking to potential acquirers and as distribution partners potentially. And one thing led to another. And within 2 years, we were in an enviable position of having multiple acquisition interests. And we sold at over 10x revenue to Vistaprint in 2011.
Hey, thanks for watching. This segment was made possible by our friends at Salesforce Commerce Cloud. If you're looking for the #1 platform for all your commerce needs, go check out salesforce.com/commerce. And don't forget to subscribe below and tap that little bell icon so you can stay on top of all the amazing new segments and full episodes that we'll be putting out over the coming year with some of the best and most influential commerce leaders out there.